The Celestials are some of the most powerful beings in Marvel Comics, and we've already seen a few of them make their appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, despite the Eternals being poorly received by the audience, I do have to give the film credit for its portrayal of the Celestials. Now, in this video, I want to focus on the Celestial known as Tiamut. The Celestials usually have different roles which they perform within the universe. You have Isan the Searcher, Nazar the Calculator, Jeremiah the Analyzer, Arishem the Judge, and so on. Tiamut was originally known as the Communicator, and his role was to report to the Fulcrum the Celestials' finding on a specific planet. Now, the Fulcrum is an omnipotent level cosmic entity in the Marvel Universe. It used to be the one above all, but they keep creating new ones to act as the all-powerful being that rules over everything. There's probably more now because this was back in the early 2000s. Now, the way the Fulcrum's design works is the Celestials go to a planet and evolve the base species. They evolve to either become Eternals or Deviants. After 19 cosmic cycles, a planet becomes ready for harvesting, and the energy from the base species that inhabits the planet is transferred to the Fulcrum. If the energy signature is consistent with the Eternals, the life force is transferred to the Celestials, and if it's consistent with the Deviants, then the life force is transferred to a species known as the Horde. The Horde are a race of insect-like beings that also serve the Fulcrum. So the way this works is everything in existence has a balance. While the Celestials serve as tools of life and creation, the Horde serves as tools of death and destruction. So they're sort of like the antithesis of the Celestials within the Fulcrum's design. Now, around the time of the second Celestial host, the Deviants were the dominant species on Earth, and Tiamut was preparing to send word to the Horde to harvest the planet. But Arishem made the decision to abort Tiamut's communication with the Fulcrum and had the Deviants slaughtered. Now, the Celestials are very logical beings. They don't operate on concepts of good and evil. They do what's in their programming. With that being said, after Arishem decided to kill the Deviants, Tiamut came to the conclusion that Arishem had malfunctioned. So he had no choice but to remove him and assume command, and this led to Tiamut attacking Arishem. Tiamut was able to overpower Arishem, but the other Celestials had intervened, and it took 5 of them to overwhelm him. The Celestials imprisoned Tiamut beneath the earth, which caused his armor to turn black, and they destroyed any record of his name. So Tiamut slept beneath the earth for centuries, only being referred to as the Dreaming Celestial. Tiamut was later resurrected during the 2006 run of the Eternals, which I think the Eternals movie was loosely based on. During this run, the Eternal known as Sprite wanted to actually grow up and experience adulthood, so he, along with a few of the other Eternals, went beneath the earth where Tiamut slept to form a Unimind. So a quick refresher for you guys, a Unimind is essentially the Eternals combining their intelligence to form a singular powerful consciousness. They did it in the Eternals movie using their cosmic energy in order to put Tiamut back to sleep. But the Unimind is capable of so much more. Given how powerful a Celestial is, forming a Unimind with Tiamut gave Sprite the ability to warp reality, and he changed everything so that he'd become immortal while wiping the memories of the rest of the Eternals. So they technically had to live as normal people, not knowing who they really were. However, Icarus was able to break free and remember who he was, and he went and gathered the other Eternals, including Thena and Makari. So what ended up happening is that 2 of the Deviants used Makari to resurrect Tiamut, and after being exposed to the sunlight, his armor turned gold once again. Now, Tiamut's awakening was actually felt throughout the entire galaxy, and it was even felt by the Horde, which drew them to planet Earth. So for those who don't know, Ajax is the Eternal who primarily communicates with the Celestials. However, after being resurrected, Tiamut linked himself with Makari in the dream space, which is how they communicated, and he even stated that he was the one who created him and gave him the power of speed. So since Tiamut was now communicating through Makari and not Ajax, this sort of made him jealous of Makari. So remember, I stated earlier that Sprite wiped most of the Eternals' minds so they didn't remember who they really were. Well, what Ajax did was he went and found Gilgamesh, and after reminding him that he was an Eternal, Ajax warped his mind to think that the rest of the Eternals were his enemy, including Makari. So what happened was Gilgamesh intercepted Makari and beat him almost to death. But remember, he was brainwashed by Ajax, and funny enough, Ajax came in and finished the job, and actually killed Makari himself. And all of this was because he was jealous that Tiamut was communicating through Makari and not him. But see, this didn't have the outcome that Ajax intended, because with the connection between Makari and Tiamut now severed, the Song of Sleeper was activated. The Song of Sleeper is basically a failsafe that Tiamut used to put everyone on Earth with the exception of the Eternals to sleep. and after the song is complete, the Fulcrum will extract all life from Earth and reshape the planet. So to make matters worse, Gilgamesh went to Olympia, which is where the Eternals live, and he destroyed Makari's reactivation chamber. For context, whenever an Eternal dies, they can be brought back using these reactivation chambers. So getting rid of them would cause the Eternals to die permanently unless the Celestials were to recreate them. So in order to stop Gilgamesh from destroying any more of the reactivation chambers, Athena ended up having to kill him. But with Makari's reactivation chamber destroyed, they had another problem. In order to deactivate Tiamut's failsafe that would basically doom the entire planet, they had to find a way to bring Makari back to life. So what ended up happening was Cersei had to use her transmutation powers to bring Makari back to life. And her powers were actually previously enhanced by Tiamut, which is how she was able to pull this off. So after aborting Tiamut's failsafe, they still had to deal with the issue of the Horde coming to Earth. So what happened was the rest of the Eternals came together and formed the Unimind with Tiamut, and this way they were able to control him to combat the Horde. But even Tiamut by himself wasn't enough to stop them, so his only other option was to reach out to the Fulcrum. So remember I said that the Celestials are very logical beings and they don't operate based on concepts of good and evil. Well, it turns out that Tiamut's programming was changing and he somehow developed an attachment to planet Earth. Kinda like what happened to Arishem when he began calling the Deviants long ago. So after appealing to the Fulcrum, he was asked why he would want to save planet Earth, to which Tiamut responded that he actually cared about Earth. And what ended up happening was the Fulcrum made Tiamut the Dreaming Celestial his companion, stating that he was the only one to ever question him. So Tiamut had essentially evolved beyond what he was created to do, and from the Fulcrum's perspective, this made Tiamut far superior to the other Celestials. Now, despite how powerful the Dreaming Celestial is, he can be killed. He actually died during the Second Age of Apocalypse storyline at the hands of the Exterminators. The Exterminators are a race of powerful beings that consume energy, and they were created by the Celestials long before the multiverse even existed. But as they consume energy, they become stronger, and the Celestials eventually lost control of them, so they had to seal them in another dimension. Funny how Tiamut got killed by his own creation.
Ironic.
Anyway, in reference to Tiamut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I actually don't know how they're going to move forward from this because they sort of wrote themselves into a corner. And it actually shows just how underwhelming the Eternals movie was, because they really just wasted one of the most powerful Celestials and turned him into a tourist attraction. But it's par for the course in the MCU, I guess. If you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.